share this with any other class. Okay, so we try to avoid having the one which is not important in the class. Okay, so this is chapter 6, correlation and regression. So when we talk about correlation and regression, we can try to relate with chapter 5 before this. In chapter 5, at the end of the topic, what do you learn? Do you still remember the content for chapter 5? You got your test before this, right? So,
Yes, madam.
okay. Ida. Ida, what do you learn in chapter 5 at the end of the chapter?
The one yang ada table.
Yeah?
The one yang kena kira yang ada row dengan column tu.
Row and column, that is the thing that you remember. What about what is the main criteria ataupun what is the point of ada row and column tu? What do you want to check? Anyone? Ida pun boleh. What is the purpose? Lambat ni. Seolah-olah macam tak buat test lagi ni. Hazika. Hazika ke? Nur Hazika. Yeah. Nur Hazika, can you respond? Chapter 5. At the end of the chapter, what do you learn?
Madam.
Yeah. Amir nak buat. Nak say something. Yeah.
I think that we have learned that how to kira confidence interval t-test and confidence interval z-test.
I'm saying the one which is at the end of the chapter, not the beginning of the chapter. The end of the chapter.
Chi-square test.
Chi-square test. Okay, chi-square test of apa nama dia? Chi-square test of
Independence.
Independence. Do you remember your null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis? What do you have for the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis for that? Farah? Farhaniza? Farhaniza? Kenapa tak respon ni? Can you hear my voice? Can you straight away respond? If you cannot say anything, can you please chat? Okay. Boleh dengar. Null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Farhaniza, I'm waiting for your response. Please respond.
Okay, for null hypothesis, can you hear me, madam?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Can you just respond straight away?
For null hypothesis is maybe it is no relationship, while for HA, there have a relationship in the chi-square test.
Okay, there is a relationship between variables. Okay, so basically the purpose of your last hypothesis procedure, which is the chi-square test of independence, is to check the relationship between variables. Okay, itu dia punya function for the last test of hypothesis, which is the chi-square test of hypothesis. Chi-square test of independence. Okay, nama dia test of independence. You want to check the relationship ataupun the independency between variables. Okay, so that is what you have for the last subtopic. So in this topic, okay, we are now trying to understand, is there any correlation. The word correlation here referring to the word relationship juga. We are trying to check the relationship between variables juga. But this time, we can also see the pattern in terms of either it is increasing pattern or decreasing pattern. we can also see the strength of the relationship. Kalau dekat chi-square test of independence, what you do is you just want to check the relationship, whether there is any relationship between the variables ataupun there is no relationship between the variables. That is what happened for your chi-square test of independence. Okay, for this chapter, what we have is to check the still about the relationship, tapi this time around kita boleh tengok pattern. Pattern dia maksudnya apa? Can we see that when this one increase, the other one increase too? When X increase, do Y increase? So if they are increasing in the same direction for both X and Y, we can see that we are having what we call as a positive correlation, which is positive relationship between the variables. Okay, that is one. The other one is we can check the strength. Okay, satu is about the direction. Okay, one is about the direction. The other one is about the strength of relationship. Okay, so you can check both. Okay, you can check both of this by using this topic punya content, which is about topic of correlation. So the first half of this topic will be about correlation. Okay, correlation. So when we talk about correlation, we have the word relation dalam ni. So maksudnya you have to imagine that it is going to be about relationship between variables juga. Okay, ramai orang dah hilang ni, kenapa? Where do you go? I can still see about 5 or 6 students in the class. Okay, I'm hoping that you can still be in the class by turning on the video and the camera. Okay. Alright, so now the very first part is to understand the independent and dependent variable. Okay, because you said that we would like to see the relationship between them. So we are going to give the name of independent and dependent variable. I think this is the one that we have already learned before. Masa you punya secondary school, maybe primary school pun you have already learned about X and Y. And even maybe we can also have our independent and dependent variable before this. Okay, I want you to give me an example of dependent and independent variable. I give you 5 minutes to think of independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, for example, I give you an example over here. I am going to choose the third example here, which is about repairing cost and the age of the machine. Okay, so the one which is considered to be independent, yang tidak bergantung pada the other one is the age of the machine. Okay, when the age of the machine, okay, what is the dependent variable for the age of the machine? For this case is the repairing cost. Okay, so you can imagine kalau we have the machine, when the machine is an old machine compared to the new one, the repairing cost normally is going to be higher. Kalau repairing cost lah. Okay, if the machine is quite old compared to the new machine, I think the repairing cost would be higher. So I'm going to say that the repairing cost is an example of a dependent variable. So this is our dependent variable over here. And the independent variable that we have here is the age of the machine. Okay, so the repairing cost is our dependent variable. They depends on apa? They depends on the age of the machine. Okay, so now this is one example. I want you to come up with your own example. You boleh think of anything around you. About 5 minutes to think of what is your example of dependent variable or an independent variable. A set of it, X and Y. Okay, 5 minit dari sekarang, so maknanya 8.33. Okay, 8.33. You can ask anything if you want to ask while trying to come up with your own example. Okay, now again, if you have already your example, can you please raise your button? Raise hand. If you already have your example, raise hand button need to be pressed. Okay, press the raise hand button if you already have your example. Please don't use the same example given in the module. Okay, please don't use the same example given in the module. Okay, only 4 students. We have about 3 minutes to be done. Okay, we have 5 students done. What about the rest? If you have done, can you please raise the button? Raise hand. Okay, Adiba, Aisha, Umaira, Farah, Natasha, and Hazika. What is the problem? Have you got your example now? Waiting for Farah, Natasha. Farah, Natasha, where are you? Are you in the class? Okay, Farah, Natasha, I would like you to give me your example of dependent and independent variable. Okay, quick. We are waiting for you. Farah, Natasha ada tak ni?
Ada, madam.
Silakan.
Amount of hours that we use our phone
And
and
your apa, X ke Y?
X.
X.
And Y is number of hours of sleep.
Okay, so you are having amount of hours using phone for X and the amount of sleep that you have per day.
Yes.
Okay, you think that is a relationship between them? What is depending on which one? Farah Natasha, which one is depending on which one?
Amount of sleep
Depending
depending on amount of sleep and number of hours of sleep depending on amount of phone use before bed.
Okay, so amount of sleep depending on amount of ataupun hours spent for the phone before sleep. Okay, that is one of the example. Is it related to your life?
Yes.
Very much. Thank you, Farah Natasha. Okay, is there any problem, Farah Natasha, for turning on the video? Farah Natasha pergi mana dah?
Ada madam.
Baru nampak kat atas. Kalau tak nampak kat bawah ni je. Okay, so the next one, can I have it from a guy, Ahmad Shauki? Again, Ahmad Shauki. How many boys do we have in this class? Ahmad Shauki, give me your example of dependent and independent variable.
Independent amount time I'll be playing games.
Amount of time playing games.
I'll be playing games.
Okay. Lagi?
Independent amount tu. Work life. Amount time we work. While kerja, seharian kerja.
Apa tu? Not very clear. Louder please. Make it clear.
Amount time doing work, daily work.
That one is X ke Y?
Dengan yang independent tu yang hobi. Yang game tadi. Independence. X.
Again, I need you to explain again, make it clear to everyone because we cannot hear so much now. So can you make it clearer?
The X1 is the amount time hobby playing games. The Y1 is amount time work, daily work life. Daily work routine. Daily work routine.
Okay, so your routine would be depending on?
What?
What is depending on which one?
Work depending on hobby.
Okay, the amount of time you spend on working or doing your routine every day is depending on the amount of time you spend for your hobby.
Yes.
Okay, alright. So, makin lama you main game, for example, when you play the games longer, what happened to your daily routine?
It becomes longer.
Becomes longer?
Yes, because I do work about sometimes about 3 hours.
I cannot get your
Masa saya ni saya buat kerja, kalau buat kerja ke apa ke macam main game kan 2-3 jam tu lebih sikit. Kerja tu lebih daripada main game sikit. Masa dia.
I cannot see the relationship now. Tadi nampak juga, sekarang macam tiba-tiba dah tak nampak relationship tu. Okay. Because you said
that tengah.
You have to try to make it clear because now we have our independent variable. You said that your independent variable is the amount spent for hobby. Kan? Independence.
Yeah.
Betul?
Yes.
So you said that your amount of time spent for your daily routine would be depending on the amount of time spent for hobby. Mana lagi ini sebenarnya? Maksud saya mana lagi penting bagi you? Which one is your
Kerja.
priority now?
Priority. Balik sini. Kerja.
Your hobby is your priority now, is it?
No. Work.
Work.
Yes.
Kalau work is your priority, I think your X is
Terbalik je.
supposed to be your work.
Terbalik.
Kan?
Yes,
Betul
yes.
tak? Your priority, if your priority is your work, so therefore I think the independent variable is supposed to be your amount of time spent for your daily routine. And then
Yes.
for your
Then
hobby,
the hobby
for
is dependent.
Y, betul tak? Kan? For Y variable, which is depending variable, would be your amount of time spent for your hobby. Okay. Maybe that is an example of a decreasing trend. Can I say that as a decreasing trend? Is it true, Ama?
Yes.
Okay, mari kita conteng kat sini. We have this is your amount of time for the hobby. Okay. And this is the amount of time, X is supposed to be your routine kan? Not the hobby anymore. X is supposed to be your routine. Okay. So this is the amount spent for the daily routine. X, which is the independent variable. This is the amount of time spent for hobby. Okay, for example, if you spend a longer daily routine punya activities, a longer meaning to the right, what happened to the amount of time spent for hobby? Pattern dia akan jadi makin kurang kan. Lagi banyak your daily routine punya work done, lagi kurang your time spent for hobby. So this is an example of decreasing trend. Boleh Ama? You get it?
Yes, I get it.
Okay, so now your priority is your daily routine or your hobby? Which one?
Daily routine.
Daily routine kan? Kalau tak you tak. Yeah.
I was confused just then.
Alright. Okay, thank you Ama for your sharing. Okay, so for the whole class, are you now being able to see the meaning of dependent and independent variable? Boleh ke? Can I get your response, please?
Yes, madam.
Please say something. Okay, say something showing that I'm not talking to the wall. Okay, alright. So that is very important for me to proceed with a new one. Okay, so siapa nak tanya apa-apa? Do you have anything to ask about dependent and independent variable?
No, madam.
No. Okay, we are going to proceed now. I'm hoping that you can see at least the meaning of dependent and independent variable. So we are going to proceed with the other one for now, which is about the scatter plot. Okay, so scatter plot. Okay, so this is what we have done just now. This is an example of scatter plot yang saya buat between hobby and daily routine tadi. Okay, between hobby and daily routine over here. This is what we call as scatter plot. Plot is the plot, the cross one. Scatter meaning serakan. Okay, so how you can see the data scattered around the axis. So that is the meaning of scatter plot or scatter diagram. Okay, so now we are having this example which is given as the age and the pressure. And you are also given this example when you plot, you can either be plotting by using the cross ataupun you can also just put the points over here. We don't have to combine or we don't have to join the points. Okay, we don't have to do that. Okay, because that is what we call as the scatter plot. Okay, so this is your scatter plot. You can you see the pattern that we have here? Nampak tak dekat scatter plot ni? Boleh? Okay, so is it an increasing trend or a decreasing trend?
increasing.
Yeah, the rest increasing. I may say that it is an increasing trend. What about the rest?
Increasing too.
Increasing too. Girls, Tasnim, do we have Tasnim in the class? Tak nampak muka Tasnim dari tadi?
Yes, madam.
Ha.
I'm increasing too.
Tasnim, are you my student?
Yes.
Before this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kenapa tak turn on your video?
Yep.
Okay, so this is an increasing trend. Okay, so you can see that after we have the plot, okay, after we have the plot, we can check or we can directly what we call as interpret the scatter diagram as something like this. There is a positive, okay, nampak tak ada perkataan positive, linear relationship between age and blood pressure. This is the minimum way of interpreting your scatter plot. Okay, scatter plot. So after you plot by using the graph paper, okay, or you can also plot this by using Excel. Okay, so you can see the positive side of it. Positive meaning it is increasing to the right. That is the meaning of positive. Another word for positive is direct. Okay. Okay, kalau decrease, kita panggil negative linear relationship. Okay, so kalau ke bawah, it is a decreasing trend, will be using negative. Okay, negative relationship between what and what. Okay, and yeah, another word for negative relationship would be inverse. Okay, so this is another word for negative. Kalau positive, alias direct. Kalau negative, alias inverse. Okay, any of the words can be used for your interpretation whenever you see your scatter plot. You get it? Boleh? Ada soalan? Tak ada eh? Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to do this. I think majority are using the laptops, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Can you put down your hands now, orang-orang yang berenam ni? Orang yang masih lagi angkat tangan. Put down your hands. Okay, now I want to see how many of you are using computer right now. Can you please respond? Raise up your hand. Sebelah sahaja. Okay, so meaning Adibah, Ahmad Syauqi, Farah Natasha, Safia and Rabiatul Adawiyah and Wan Nur Ifah. You are using the phone. So we have 13 of you using the Excel. I mean the computer. Is it? Okay. So now I'm asking you to do this by using Excel. I want you to explore Excel. You have done this masa your assignment. Okay, so I want you to try to come up with the scatter diagram for this relationship, which is the price per kilogram and the sales. Okay, you need to find out first which one is your X value, which one is the Y value, and I give you about 5 minutes to be done with that by using Excel. Sekejap je ni. Okay, so 13 orang tadi. Silakan. Using this data that I have over here, I want you to construct the scatter diagram by using Excel. Orang yang tak ada using the computer now, I want you to plot by using a graph paper if possible. Kalau you don't have the graph paper right now, you can just sketch by using your paper that you have in front of you. Okay, yang 13 tadi, I want you to use the computer. ada 5 orang je yang akan guna kertas. Okay, turun dulu tangan. Hari ni memang latihan tangan lah. Okay, that will be happening whenever you are with me. Memang latihan tangan ni sentiasa kita buat dah dalam kelas. Walaupun secara realitinya tidak, secara maya pun okey. At least you are in the class. Ami, mana Ami? Ami yang seorang lagi tu. Nah. Okay, ada 2 orang still raising up your hands. I want you to put down your hand, Adiba and Ida. Ida, okay. So if you have done with the task given just now, which is to construct the scatter diagram by using Excel and by using graph paper or plain paper for those who are not using the computer. Okay, about 5 minutes from now, meaning 8:55. If you have done, I want you to raise up your hands. Okay, dah 2 orang settle. You are using apa ni? 2 orang ni, Nur Farah and Amir.
Kertas.
I'm using Excel.
Okay, Excel. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you Amir and Nur Farah. Okay, still waiting for your friends. Another 3 minutes to be done. Okay, while waiting for your friends, not to forget to interpret your scatter diagram. Okay, do interpret or state the relationship between the variables that you have. Okay, 1 minute. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. Okay, we still have Adiba, Ifa, Safia. Is it? Safia, Nurin, Rabiatul, and one. One Nur Ifa. It's already 8:55. Adiba, have you done?
Yes, madam.
You done?
Yes.
Yes. Raise up your hands, please. Okay, thank you. Right, so now I'm going to choose at random. I'm hoping that I'm choosing one from Excel, one from apa ni, the one who's catch. Okay, Aisha Umaira, you are using Excel, isn't it?
Yes, madam.
Okay, I want you to show me by sharing the screen now. Okay, sharing your screen now.
Can you see my screen, madam?
Okay, can you make it bigger, please? Or is that the biggest that we can see? Alright, so can you tell us more about your graph? Where is the label of the axis, the title, and everything? Which one is which?
X2 price per kg, Y2 sales.
Okay, so meaning your dependent variable is what is your dependent variable?
Sales.
Sales. Okay, so in any scatter plot, in any graph, we are supposed to be having the label of the axis. Okay, so things to improve is to have the label of this axis. Okay, axis Y and axis X. Right? Okay, so you are having the right axis now. You see that the dependent variable is the sales and the price per kilogram is the independent variable. Okay, so what is the relationship that you have here, Aisha Myra?
Negative relationship.
Negative. Negative relationship
Between price per kg and sales.
Okay, all right. What does it mean? What does it mean? So not just to say negative relationship. I think negative relationship is one of the way, but what is the meaning behind that?
Decreasing.
Decreasing. What happened to X when, what happened to Y when X increase?
Y.
When apa?
When X increase, Y
Don't
decrease.
use X. Don't use X. Use your variable that you have.
When price per kg increase, sales decrease.
Okay, so this is the price per kilogram for the prawn, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that when the price per kilogram increase, the sales of the prawn would be decreasing. Ni macam supply and demand jugalah kat sini. Okay. But this time is maybe depending on the price first. Okay. Right? Depending on the price. If the price is very high, so no not much people want to buy the prawns. Okay, when the price is very high, when the price is increasing, the number of people buying the ataupun buying the prawn would be decreasing. That is the meaning. Okay, so thank you Aisha Myra. Alright, so now thank you. I'm going to share my screen back. I'm hoping that I'm choosing the right person for the one with graph on the paper. Siapa having the graph on the paper? Tak ingat dah saya. Ada 4 orang, kan? 4-5 orang macam tu.
One, madam.
1. Okay, 1. Can you give us your graph? Okay, the way to share your graph is by putting it over here. Dekat chat ni. Okay, then you have this one. Silakan Wan. Okay. So Wan Nur Ifa, this is your graph. Okay, do we need to join the points? Ifa?
Madam, I made mistake.
Okay, alright, no problem. So it's a scatter diagram over here. It's not a graph, the normal graph that you normally have. Okay, and you are not using the graph paper, kan? You are using just a plain paper, so maybe you are not following the right scale lah. Okay, so it seems like you are having a very nice straight line over here. Tapi I don't really imagine that this relationship having a very cantik punya straight line. Kan? Orang lain macam mana? Are you having a straight line like this?
No.
Not a straight line, is it? Hello?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so dia punya kedudukan macam lari-lari sikit kan? It's not on a straight line, is
Yeah,
it?
a little bit.
Okay, a little bit here and there. Okay, so we can see that sales is on the y-axis, the price per kilogram is on the x-axis. Okay, so besides having the label of the axis, thank you Wan Nur Ifa for having the label of the axis. We also need to have the title of the graph. Okay, macam biasalah, macam kita belajar when we are doing the assignment tu kan. When we are doing for the assignment, we have all the label of the axis dengan title. Okay, so there is a negative linear relationship between sales and the price per kilogram. Alright, thank you. Okay, so for scatter diagram, we are not going to draw any straight line yet. That is not the meaning of a scatter diagram. Scatter diagram is just by plotting. Okay, so kita plot je. Itu namanya scatter plot ataupun scatter diagram. Alright, so settle with that. We are going to move on now. Okay. Right, these are some of the graph ataupun the shape that you can see from some of the graph. Okay. So when you plot, Imtiaz, what are you doing? Okay, so when you plot, you can either see a direct linear relationship like this, or an inverse one. So direct is another name for positive. Inverse is another name for negative. Okay, inverse is another name for negative. So this is another one, direct curvilinear, inverse curvilinear. Okay, ini inverse curvilinear. Okay, slightly curvy lah over here. Slightly curvy. Okay, this is the example for the one which is not having any relationship. Bila you plot, you see something like this. The first one, you cannot see any pattern over there, or even the right hand side one. This is one. This is the one. Okay, what is the meaning of this? When x increase, nothing happened to y. Okay, so this is the meaning of this diagram. Sebelah kanan ni. Okay, when x increase, nothing happened to y. When x increase, nothing happened to y. Y is going to be the same from beginning until bila tak tahulah, sampai point terakhir ni, it is just the same. Okay, can you tell me the example of this kind of relationship? Apa dia contohnya? Adiba, can you tell me one of the example?
I'm not sure, madam.
You are not sure?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. You can just try.
Maybe no relationship about types of food and people who get disease. There's no relationship.
Types of food. Okay, when you imagine the one that we plot like this, normally what we have is quantitative data. So when you say about the types of food, that is not considered to be a quantitative data. Okay, so normally bila you plot like this, normally it is about quantitative data. So x and y are supposed to be imagined as quantitative data for the one that we are having now. Okay, cuba you try to imagine any other example. You said about disease just now, kan?
Yes,
Adiba, you said about disease just now. You said that there is no relationship between the type of food and the disease. Any other things that you want to relate, which are the quantitative data?
Numbers of people. Okay.
Number of people.
Numbers of people get disease. And their level of intelligence.
Level of intelligence. Okay, okay, boleh juga. Alright. Number of people ataupun number of people. I think it's supposed to be the probability lah kot. Okay, probability. Okay, probability of getting the disease dengan the level of intelligence of the people. Okay, sebab bila you plot, you kena come up with the plot yang betul lah. Okay, the probability, maybe the probability of getting the disease dengan the intelligence, level of intelligence. Okay, kalau we talk about the intelligence ni, it is kind of not a purely quantitative data, but we can also plot because of you have already put the level kan. Maybe you want to say, okay, this is for the first level of intelligence, this is the second level of intelligence, maybe by their grade, or maybe by their CGPA, I don't know, maybe by their level of education, okay? Maybe you have that in your mind. Okay, so yes, that is an example of a relationship that you can try to imagine, which is not having any relationship between the level of intelligence and the probability to be infected by the disease. Okay, talking about the disease. Thank you, Adiba, for your example. Tapi I'm not sure whether we are having, I think the example that we are having just now might be having yang pattern yang pertama. Okay, maybe having the pattern, the first pattern. Okay, maybe different level of intelligence, different probability, I don't know. But I think that we are not going to have any pattern, but it is going to be as the first pattern, not the one which is the same for y-axis. Okay, kalau yang ni yang example for y-axis. Yang sama all the time. Contohnya apa? Macam you can imagine macam mencurah air ke daun keladi, something like that. Okay, when walaupun you letak banyak air macam mana pun, your daun keladi is just like that. Something like that. Okay, the amount of water you put for x-axis, the amount of water that you apa ni nak panggil, what is the word? The amount of water that you spend for that daun keladi does not give any meaning to that daun keladi, so it will be the same from beginning until the end. So dia macam mencurah air ke daun keladi lah istilah dia kan, kalau nak bayangkan this one. Okay, so yang bawah ni we have a strong relationship, a weak relationship between here. Okay, can you see the difference between this? First one is strong, second one is weak. What is the difference? Apa dia? Ama. Why is it strong? The distance, yeah, the distance between the variables. Okay, between the plots. Okay, so when the distance between the plot are very near from one to another, so we can say that the relationship is very strong ataupun strong relationship. Okay, but when we are having a slightly further or distance which is more compared to this one, we are saying that the relationship will be a weaker one. Okay, dia punya jarak-jarak tu. Tapi we can still see the pattern, which is the pattern. This one is increasing, this one is decreasing. Maksudnya there is a relationship, but the relationship is not a very strong one. Maybe it's just a weak one. Okay, so that is what you can see lah from the scatter plot. Okay. So we have done with the first half of the chapter. I mean the first subtopic just now is about scatter plot. Scatter plot dan juga your dependent and independent variables. Okay. So yang pertama tadi we know about x and y, which is the dependent variable and the independent variable. And then we learn on how to plot. Okay, how to plot, and after we plot, we can also see the relationship between the variables. Okay, we can say something about the relationship. Okay, maybe before this, we are not mentioning about the strength of the relationship. This one, what do you think? If you look at the distance between the variables, what do you think? Is it having a very high correlation or a strong correlation between them?
Weak relationship.
Yeah, this is considered to be a weak correlation or relationship. Okay, so now when you have already learned the part of strong and weak just now, you can put any another term over here, not just saying that it is a positive linear, but you can also mention that we are having a positive weak relationship. Okay, positive weak linear relationship. Okay, we can put another extra word over here because we can see the distance between the points are very far. Okay, this is quite far. Right? So that's why we can put there is a positive weak linear relationship between age and blood pressure. Okay, fikir logik pun macam logik lah juga kan, because when the age increase, the blood pressure would be increasing. Memang ada pattern, tapi not all people are having the same pattern, right? I mean, if you are able to maintain your health condition, insyaAllah you are not going to have this kind of pattern lah, which is when your age increasing, your blood pressure will be decreasing too. Okay, so it really depends on our way of trying to maintain our health juga dengan usaha-usaha sampingan seperti yang lain-lain. Okay, so this one considered to be weak relationship. What about this one that you have just now? If you look at your friend punya graph tadi, what do you think? If you look back at your Excel tadi, is it considered to be a strong one or a weak one? Now,
Strong and inverse.
yeah, strong and inverse. I think we can put the word strong over here because if I can see your friends Aisha Myra just now, the line ataupun the dots, the points are quite near from one to another. Okay, so yeah, we can consider this as a strong negative linear ataupun negative strong linear relationship. Okay, sini one tertinggal perkataan relationship. Okay, relationship ataupun correlation. Tertinggal perkataan correlation or relationship. Okay, so you can add another word of there is a negative strong relationship between sales and price per kilogram. Okay, for self-test, one over here. Boleh? Okay. Assalamualaikum. Kembali semula ke sini. Okay, so just now tak tahu, mungkin tersalah tekan button. Alright, no problem. So, do you have anything to ask related to the one that we have just now? Boleh ke? Semua orang?
Boleh.
Okay, so I'm going to move on after 5 minutes. I let you rest for 5 minutes. Okay, we are going to have another part of the topic which is about the correlation coefficient. Okay, so I give you a 5-minute break. So meaning we are going to be here back at 9:22. Okay, 9:22. You are going to have a break of 5 minutes. Okay, silakan pergi tandas waktu ni. Thank you.